5:20 on Saturday at the Curragh in front of a crowd of about 6,000. Controversially, they've decided to race on despite the fact that most of the course is being renovated. It's the Dubai duty-free Irish Derby, and Rob Catterson, how do Paddy Power bet?
Yeah, we've betting on all the big races the weekend, Bruce, and we're kicking off with this Irish Derby. Wings of Eagles, the Epsom Heroes, the 2-1 favourite. 9-4 about Walgeese, the French runner. It's 3's Cracksman, who's been easy enough to back all week because of all the rain we're getting here. 9's Capri, were 14's Douglas MacArthur, 25-1 Grandee, and 33's Bar.
I'm actually in Dublin, believe it or not, and it's quite dry. And fun enough, I saw a tweet from one of the Irish newspapers that said something like, woohoo, the summer's returning, temperatures set to hit the low 20s. Is that a cause for celebration, Rob, when the mercury hits 20 in Ireland?
It is. We've been lucky enough, actually. This week has been bad, but before that, we've been lucky with the weather. It's been awful all week. I wouldn't be too far from the Curragh, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday has been a complete washout. Obviously, we'd hope it gets better, and that's, I suppose, the ground is going to be the key. Like, Cracksman's been very easy to back all week, and Wings of Eagles and particularly Walgeese have been supported because they've proven form on the ground. So,
we say the ground. I mean, at the moment, it's good, isn't it?
I think it's on the easy side of good. It just depends what's going to happen, obviously, over the next couple of days. But like, we've had a lot of rain. Obviously, it takes an awful lot to make it soft. Like when Camelot won it a few years ago, it was very, very tacky. But if the forecast is good, there'll probably be no excuses on the ground.
Okay, Keels, kick us off. Who's going to win?
Yeah, it's got to be Valdegeist, doesn't it? That's got to be the way you pronounce it, isn't it? It's German bred, so I think that's the one. Second in the French Derby, got in a bit of trouble. Just got stopped on the line, but that's a mile and 2.5. All the pedigree says is stamina. Has to improve for it. And the ground, which was very fast earlier in the week, it has come in his favour. He'll be fine on good ground. And, even though 2 horses from the Derby won at Royal Ascot, just not 100% certain that was a satisfying Derby, that race. It was a few hard luck stories. I think they might have gone a bit hard. I don't know whether Wings of Eagles was flattered or not. I think it beat Cracksman, who I think is very one-paced, but I think Valgeist could be in a different class.
Lee, with the Derby, there's 2 questions. One is, how good was the race? And 2 is, did the best horse win? What are your thoughts at this stage?
My initial thoughts that it was probably a better Derby than we maybe were instantly giving it credit for. You see a 40-1 shot swoop down the outside to win the race, and you think, well, that wasn't a particularly great addition. And maybe it wasn't, but I think it was a strange race in that the winner came from an awful long way off a strong pace. Cliffs of Moher was very well ridden in that regard as well, whereas Cracksman was pretty much always up there, or certainly more so than the first and second. And I think you can improve his performance as a result. I wouldn't be necessarily convinced, though, that a mile and a half will be better for him than a mile and a quarter. And I would, although I think it was a better race than we gave it credit for at the time, I wouldn't necessarily be convinced that Wings of Eagles was the best horse in the race. I think from the Derby, they'll also be quite interested in is Capri. He made a big move mid-race. He covered more ground than others in the race. He went harder than others did earlier. And I think he's probably a better horse than the Derby gives him credit for. Shamey, who's generally the number 2 there, he's riding Capri. I could see him certainly getting in the places. But like Keels, I'd have massive respect for Andre Farb's horse. It's entirely possible that Prix du Jockey Club was a very hot running of the race this year. The win looks very good. It had won the French Guineas the time before. Farb wouldn't that often have a runner in the Irish Derby. He's had success in the race. He's pretty adamant that whatever the ground, he won't be unduly concerned. There's a feeling that some have that maybe Walgeist does need quite a bit of juice in the ground to be seen at his best. Farb seems to be of the opinion that quicker ground won't be a problem. So of the big 3 in this Battle of Europe, I'd be siding with Walgeist, but I expect Capri to run a big race too.
What do you fancy, Rob?
Yeah, well, the key form here, if you go back to Saint Cloud last October, Walgeese won a Group 1, and he beat 4 of these, including Wings of Eagles, Capri, Douglas MacArthur and Taj Mahal. You'd expect him to beat the 2 of those. And that was on soft ground. Like, on that piece of form, obviously, horses improve and disimprove when they come into their classic season. But like on that line, he's the horse to beat. I just it's interesting. Paul reckons that he will stay the mile and a half. His last 2 runs over a mile and 2, he's been caught close home. That'd worry me if there was no doubts about his stamina. And I think Ballydoyle will probably exploit that with the likes of Taj Mahal and the Anvil. They'll want to make it a proper test. If Paul could convince me that this lad will stay, I think he'll win.
Isn't the Dammer a half sister of Mars Marvel or something like that? I mean, isn't he got really stout pedigree? I think he just got picked up by a faster horse, right? And given a strong run race, I think that would suit him.
I'm convinced.
None of you have named the winner. The winner is Douglas MacArthur. Well, how did you know that?
I don't know. I just knew. I thought we haven't mentioned a horse that's quite interesting here, and you just have.
Well, Lee, you wrote a very interesting column on Monday about pacemakers, and obviously Douglas MacArthur was the chosen one. But I thought for a pacemaker, he stayed on damn well at Epsom. I think it will be more likely to be the Anvil or Taj Mahal that will set the pace today. And I think if they put Douglas MacArthur in to win, I think he's a cracking each way bet.
I think they'll certainly have come away from the Derby thinking, just as you did, that horse maybe ran better than they expected given how they rode him. And as you say, Taj Mahal has ridden that pacemaking role in his last couple of starts. The Anvil was ridden like that at Epsom. I'd have thought from the Derby evidence, they will think that Douglas MacArthur is too good to be wasted.
Good, excellent. Right, that's that done and dusted. The other big race at the Curragh on Saturday is the 440. It's the Gain Railway Stakes over it's a Group 2 over 6 furlongs. And there's some decent animals in here, and no mistake. We haven't got any betting yet, Rob, have we? Can you give us a clue what the market might reveal by way of the Fav? Will it be Murillo, do you think?
That's the big question. This is a race I think everybody's looking forward to seeing priced up, because I'd say it's as good a renewal as the Railway we've seen. We've got Beckford for Gordon Elliott. We've got Murillo. Ryan obviously rides that, and then we've got this Verbal Dexterity who caught so many people's eye when he hosed up on debut. Throw in the De Bruyne horse. Throw in through Blue Moon for Joseph, who was a bit unlucky in the Coventry. I'd say you're probably talking 2's joint favourite, Murillo and Verbal Dexterity, but I'd say Verbal Dexterity will go off favourite.
And is that the one you think will win, Rob?
I think so. I think he looked the real deal when he won on debut. Obviously on ground that he's maybe going to get on Saturday. Murillo, he's a good 2-year-old. He doesn't look a star. The Bruyne horse probably brings good form into the lineup. I think Joseph's could be the value. As I said, he was very slow away in the Coventry and he was doing his best work late on. But I'd say if you fancy Verbal's Dexterity for the Railway, you might want to back him for the Guineas before the race.
Well, funny enough, I've just done that at 33 to 1. I was really
Lovely.
Impressed with this horse when he won first time out. Kills, this is a cracker, this, isn't it?
It is a cracker, yeah. I mean, it was very, very impressive. I just don't know how good the race was. I mean, when you win a race by 9.5 lengths or what it was in soft ground, how many horses handled it. He might be really, really top class. But I was quite taken by the Gordon Elliott's Beckford first time out. That form is obviously nowhere near as good as what Verbal Dexterity has apparently shown, but it was over course and distance, and he was all set to go to Royal Ascot. I'd imagine he missed it because of the really, really fast ground. So we'll see. I might give him a chance.
Might give Beckford a chance. Lee, the modern trend, particularly with social media, is to abbreviate horses, isn't it, and refer to them by their initials. We can't do that with Verbal Dexterity, can we? But will that be the one that the crowd clap home as it passes the winning line?
Oh, you're on form over there today, aren't you? Yeah, I think he looks like. I mean, I didn't think it was a vintage Coventry. So although we got 2 horses coming from the Coventry, you would like to think that if there's a real star in there, they should be able to beat them. Jim Bolger looks to have that star, and I'd imagine that what Jim is thinking is that whatever Godolphin have offered for Verbal Dexterity before this race, he'll be able to increase the selling price to Sheikh Mohammed after it.
Good point. Anything else at the Curragh that we should be backing, Rob Catterson?
Yeah, a few stand out in the first. Speaking of Jim Bolger, I think he'll win with Dawn Delivers. And if this lad wins, he'll be the first winner of Dawn Approach, who's yet to have a winner as a sire. This lad should have won at Leopardstown. I think he'll make up for it in the opening race to 2 o'clock. In the 3:10, the Celebration Stakes, The one that I think Dragon Fee's one that'll certainly love the ground, but Alexios Komnenos, we haven't seen him since he was second to Churchill in the Tyros last season. He won his maiden at the Curragh, and then he ran well at Leopardstown. He's a group horse potentially. I think he'll win that. And we've got Canary Row, who again, if it gets really testing, he'll love the ground. He hosed up in a Goran Park handicap recently on really testing ground. He likes the Curragh, and he's won there. And obviously have another picked out, but that's the banker of the day, so we'll wait.